Hey everybody, John David had a 9 out of 10 day. They weaned his diureal, which is the most powerful diuretic that he was on, and they have cut it completely off, so he no longer is on it. So he is just on the BMX now, which is the other diuretic that he's on. And we'll see how it goes. Usually it'll take about 24 to 48 hours to really know if he's having any adverse effects of being off of it. So they'll do a follow-up x-ray for his lungs to make sure they're not getting too wet here in the next day or so, and then we'll kind of know if he's tolerating it well or not. But that's pretty much the only change that he had today. He did have therapies come by, speech and PT, I believe, and he had himself a good old day with Grammy. He slept a lot through the day because he weaned his Ativan yesterday, and so usually stage 1 of his withdrawals is he sleeps a lot. Tonight he started getting a little more fussy and sweaty, which is usually kind of step 2, and step 2 usually peaks with him having a high heart rate, breathing fast, sweaty, irritable, and then going into stage 3 is kind of like the cool down. It kind of mirrors step 1. But then after he gets to that, he'll kind of settle back out and be ready for the next wean. So tomorrow he'll probably just have a rest day and try and reset before they make that next wean. But that's pretty much been his day. Hunter had himself a fun day at daycare and then came home and helped me cook his favorite meal, which is hamburger and gravy and rice. And then we went and rode bikes, went to the park, and then we are trying to kind of prep him for when John David does come home, which is several weeks from now. We still have quite a ways to go, but just trying to get to that point. And so we told him if he would sleep in the bed by himself, that we would do something today that he wanted to do. And I gave him the choice between fishing, deer hunting, or frog gigging, and he chose frog gigging. So that's what we went and did tonight. And he had himself a bullfrog. But also, if you're wondering, like, yes, he's 3 years old, but he's had his own fair share of things. Like, we had a PICU stay with him when he was a newborn, when he was failure to thrive, and then he had the horse incident and then all of this. So he really has not had I guess what we would consider to be like a normal progression of kind of going to bed by himself. When, for example, when he was a newborn, actually in this room, I would pretty much just have him on the couch, lean it back, recline it, and have him on my chest because his reflux was so bad that he couldn't lay down in his bed, so we just had to kind of keep him in here with me. And that's kind of how our nights would go for about the first 6 months until we kind of got him on the solids and he got to the point where he could kind of keep food down a little bit better. We very much regularly just kind of stayed in here. And so after that, we just kind of never spent much time outside of that. Like, he just kind of stayed in our room in the halo or slept with us. And so we're kind of getting to that point where we've got to create some separation. So anything we can do to kind of incentivize that, we're going to do, so that way he can kind of get prepared. Also, just we know that it's going to be a lot having John David come back home, so trying to transition for that and prepare for that. But that's all I got for you today. If y'all would pray for these 3 things. 1, that his withdrawals will stay mild. They have been, and that's what we're praying for. We don't want a repeat of what happened 2 Sundays ago. And then if you would pray for all of those who've experienced trauma, such as losing a loved one, but especially those who've lost children. And then if you would pray for all of the kids and families who are battling congenital heart defects, because again, this is not an easy road for anybody. But that's all I've got for y'all today. Hope y'all have a good night and God bless. Y'all continue to choose up together, and we'll see you tomorrow.